Wait, Morehead, let me make sure. Are we, is our YouTube, is our YouTube link live? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we have our reports, OPTFM emergency purchases. Excuse me, approval of per diem as expected. Yeah, for February 4th.
Let's get the money.
At $40.
Let's get the money.
That's the expenses prior to March 4th. Have a motion? Second. Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, now reports. OPTFM emergency purchase.
They anticipate this to last a year, this emergency. If you look at the dates, it says from 12/29/25 to 12/28/26.
That's the standard.
That's just a
That's the
standard deal.
maximum it can last. So I mean, I'm sure they'll get
They
a
just need
replacement.
about
They
their-
just probably set it up that 12 month just so they have time to get everything done.
They need them out there ASAP, I guess.
I would imagine they get it done a lot quicker than that.
Where's that thing? Is that out here or is that down in G or?
Is it Hudson?
Hutchman, yeah,
Is
yeah,
it borrow and say how much water if I remember right?
yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
All right, any other discussions? All right, next, we have OPTFA phone source. Okay, there. Oh, no, we have one, sorry. Vaccines.
It takes a while to do.
I was gonna say, I haven't had one of those, but yeah, we go to Africa, it's the only way to work the vaccine.
When's the last time anybody had a yellow fever? I hadn't
I
heard
don't
of that.
know, but you have to have it if you want to.
$4 million worth of.
Military, maybe.
Yeah.
Military does stay through Department of Health or not, but didn't have it on source, but. And we pay for it. I mean, I know what I pay for it.
If you go over, you say, if you go overseas, you need that yellow vaccine. If you come back, you need that yellow
You
vaccine.
need it there. But, all right, no other discussion. Let's move on to OPTFM staff approval. Most of all, are state contract except for the not ones. All right, our next item, BOV staff approval, report to the board. Discussion there? Hearing none. Madam Chair, we'll let you take over if you want to.
Thank you, sir. Good day, all.
It's OPSCR emergency contacts today.
Let's go to that next one then. Any question, comments, concerns?
The only comment I have is $450,000 for one child. It just costs that much to.
I think this has been pretty consistent pricing wise, for these types of services for CPS for these children. I think, these contract prices have been pretty steady at this rate for this type of service.
Well, the top of Life Gate, $7 million for 40, that's about $175,000. This was,
I think some of these children are, if my memory serves me, have some significant issues.
That's right. And I do think it depends on the level of care needed. I think the price goes up.
These are I think this is the 24/7. There were some issues with, they had some of these children in a hotel one time, and it was really, really bad. So they, they have to have specialized care around the clock.
So that's true.
Do we get federal funds from?
They do get some federal money. I don't know how they deal with that, but
Medicare can't handle that.
probably not for that amount of money. But, I don't know how their federal money works.
No.
But I know they have to house these, under a court.
Any additional questions, comments, or concerns about the emergency contracts for OP SCR? Hearing none, let's move to sole source. No new ones there. And staff approved. Questions, comments, concerns? Thank you. Let's move please to H.
And these are the same reports y'all had just reviewed. We're just asking for permission to provide those reports to the legislative offices.
What's your pleasure?
Move to approve the letters to the legislature.
Is there a second? And there's a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carried. Thank you, ma'am. Next, BOP Office of Purchasing, Travel, and Fleet Management.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Danny Lynch with OPTFM. We're going to begin with a couple of petitions for relief from reverse auction. There are two. If y'all are okay, we'll take those together. The first one is with the West Jasper Consolidated School District, and the second is with the Columbia School District. West Jasper is in the amount of $165,000, and Columbia School District is for $329,188. And both of these are E-rate Category 2 projects. And the E-rate program is commonly used for the schools and libraries program under the Universal Service Fund, which is administered by the USAC under the direction of the FCC. Both school districts are requesting exemption, because of the overall complexity of the project, which will include both commodities and professional services. And both districts feel that competitive sealed bidding should be utilized to procure these projects. OPTFM is recommending approval for these exemptions.
You've heard the summary of the request and the recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. This is carried. Next item.
All right, next up is going to be a consideration for the Board of State Agency contracts, beginning with Ellisville State School. And this is with Nationwide Bus Parts in the amount of $521,232. Ellisville conducted a reverse auction back in October for 4 paratransit minibuses. And these buses will be used for client transportation. OPTFM recommends approval of this contract.
You've heard the summary and the recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Move approval of the question.
Been motion and a second. Questions?
Yeah, what is a paratransit?
It's gonna be like, almost like a cutaway. It's gonna have a chassis of a Ford Ford Transit now. It used to be the E-Series, but it's a bus. It's just like a mini bus.
Just a regular bus.
Just a regular bus. Yeah, and
Special.
it's gonna be for wheelchairs. It's gonna have a wheelchair lift on it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No other question.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carried.
All right, next item is gonna be with MDOT, with Altech Industries in the amount of $1,621,190. MDOT completed the seal bid process for the purchase of the 10 bucket trucks. The contract is for 12 months with 4 possible 12-month extensions and will be available to other state agencies and governing authorities. OPTFM recommends approval of this.
You've heard the summary of the request and the recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion is carried.
Next item is also with MDOT in the amount of $2,940,000. MDOT solicited bids for the purchase of a minimum of 6 with a maximum of 70 dump body trucks. The contract has a potential for 4 12-month extensions and is available for use by other state agencies and governing authorities. OPTFM recommends approval of this contract.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff's recommendation regarding this contract. What is your pleasure?
Move approval of this item.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Next item.
All right, next item is going to be with MDOT in the amount of $2,380,000 with GNS Holdings, which is doing business as Stribbling Equipment. MDOT solicited bids for the purchase of a minimum of 1 up to 10 front-end loaders with extendable backhoes. This contract has potential for 12-month extensions and is available for use by other state agencies and governing authorities. OPTFM recommends approval of this contract.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff's recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Move based on staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Next item.
All right, next up, another one with MDOT with Trax Plus in the amount of $1,999,000. And this request is the 6th of 9 possible 6-month extensions for MDOT's crawler-mounted hydraulic excavators. This is their contract for that. The previous 5 extensions were approved by this board on August 2nd, 2023, February 7th, 24, August 7th of 24, February 5th of 25, and August 6th of 2025. OPTFM recommends approval of this contract, of this extension.
You've heard the summary of the request to include the extensions for the previous 5 times and the staff's recommendations. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second. Question.
It's been moved and seconded, and we have a question on the floor.
Danny, all the others, same question we've asked for. Is this one available for other agencies?
No, sir, this one is not. This is just for MDOT.
I didn't know if maybe it's first.
I'm trying, I'll split the, yeah, this one is not. This one is just their procurement.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Next item.
All right, the next one is also with MDOT, with Azaleas Holding, Orion Solutions, Synergy Partners, and Asplundh Tree Experts, and the total amount of $4,325,000. This request is the first of 2 possible 12-month extensions for MDOT's contract with multiple herbicides. The original contracts were approved by this board on March 5th of 2025. OPTFM recommends approval of this extension.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Motion to approve based on staff recommendation.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Next item.
All right, next item is with the University of Mississippi, with the city of Amory, in the amount of $916,540. The University of Mississippi is requesting to purchase 2 power transformers from the city of Amory at a net depreciated value plus all costs associated with repairs, shipment preparation, loading, unloading, and reassembly. OPTFM recommends approval of this contract.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff's recommendation. What's your pleasure?
Move based on staff recommendation.
Second.
Question.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. You have a question, sir?
So the university is buying used power transformers? Is that a pretty standard situation? And if they're good enough for University of Mississippi, why aren't they good enough for Amory? Yeah, I just don't understand the reason behind selling used,
I don't know if it's standard. I mean, when I read everything through it, I mean, it's a thorough,
Was it
almost refurbished.
theirs? I mean, were they getting new ones?
Don't know. And I don't think Ole Miss is on the phone because
We
of
have
the mess.
here who has been with Ole Miss that might know.
I have no idea.
Good answer.
They had their own their power.
Oh,
So it wouldn't be uncommon, that I don't know why Amory would be getting rid of me.
I think, I'm trying to remember, Amory may have been upgraded. I'm trying to remember the letter. I mean, it's been probably 3 or 4 weeks since I read it, so I thought they may be upgrading, so they had extras. And I don't know, if it said like this.
One thing it could be, is a couple years ago, you got pretty bad tornado came through that Amory, and then they replaced a whole lot of electrical equipment. That stuff could be sitting over on the side somewhere. That not necessarily tore all to pieces, but
But would Angry go out and
So I'm getting,
advertise this for sale?
I'm getting a text now, so apparently,
Use power.
it was substantially cheaper to buy Amory
There's a
surplus.
lot of calling each other.
So it was substantially cheaper to buy Amory surplus and to buy new ones, and Amory bought too many. So they,
Amory bought to me.
too many, I'm assuming new ones and to replace, so, because these are being refurbished. They may have.
But you state that one more time.
Yeah, let me read the text.
No,
Said it was substantially cheaper to buy Amory surplus than to buy new ones. Amory bought too many.
hey,
Yes.
And it may not be, I mean, used on their main campus too. We have multiple sites. That we do not have access to the main power plant. That's all of this.
Doesn't Ole Miss have a campus in Tupelo?
I'm sorry.
Doesn't Ole Miss have a campus in Tupelo?
Red Center.
They got, there's a. They,
That one.
at Northwest. So that's not that far from Amory to Tupelo.
ready for the question? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Next item, sir.
All right, the next one is with the University of Mississippi Medical Center with Illumina Incorporated in the amount of $3,237,729.81. This is the second request for additional funding from UMMC for the growth and expansion of their proprietary reagents, kits, and supplies for sequencing and analysis of assays using the Illumina sequencing platforms for both their clinical and research labs. This request is for $1,565,393.46 additional. On the 3rd of September of 2025, this board approved the first additional funding request for $847,336.35, with the original contract being approved by this board on September 4th of 2024. OPTFM is recommending approval of this increased request.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff's recommendations. What is your pleasure?
Move approve this item with question.
We have a motion and a second. Floor is open for question.
And sure they.
I'm good, man.
So we had an original contract of approximately $825,000.
So that was their first addition. Yeah, that was additional. And then
Second
they
year, $847,000. 1.5
5.5, and now this request is bringing them to 3.2.
to bring it through.
Yes, sir.
Where's the funding for this coming from? Is this just from university funds? Or I know you don't.
Yeah, UMC will probably have to jump in here to answer the
I'm
funding.
just curious, is that they started with eight? Is that UMC?
We have UMC.
I can answer that. So
Thank
a
you.
lot of this is it's federally sponsored research on the research side. And then I think the clinical side is actually state funds. But there's been like rapid growth on the research side of things via Project Baby Magnolia, which is like one of our flagship research programs. And then we also got the clinical side who has also started using the Illumina kits and reagents as well, which is why we had so much more fund usage than anticipated.
So that's, I think my question on this, we started at 825, now we're at 3.2, which meant that there was basically 2.3, $2.4 million that's been added to this project from the original bid. Is that correct?
Correct. Originally, it was just for the research side, and then the clinical side also got involved. So that was responsible for the second ask for funds.
Okay. I'm still struggling with the bid process on something going up $2.3 million on that, but I'm good with it. Was just curious. Thank you.
Ready for the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Next item.
All right, the next item is with the Mississippi Department of Public Safety with Axon Enterprise in the amount of $630,446.86. DPS is requesting to use the state's contract held by Axon to purchase tasers and accessories. OPTFM recommends approval of this purchase.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff's recommendation. What's your pleasure?
Move for approval. That recommendation.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried.
Thank you.
And sir, thank you for including the historical piece about the date we approved the previous one.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, you bet.
The first item is coming to PPRB for professional contracts and awards that will potentially exceed $250,000 for our job order contracting program. It's for the Department of Finance and Administration, GS number 371166. It is statewide, which is the northern, central, and southern regions of not more than 9% of $7 million construction costs for each assigned job order, which shall not be revised except as authorized by an action of the owner. There's various funding sources in this program, and the fee type is the 9% complexity. The time period, it will enter into multiple separate job order professional contracts with an initial term of 1 year with optional annual renewals of up to 4 additional years, subject to the approval of PPRB. The total value at award, the maximum annual job order construction contract amount, has been set at a cumulative value of $50 million for each central region contract and $35 million for each northern and southern region contract, but may be increased subject to the approval of the PPRB board, depending upon actual agency institution demand for this program. The list of professionals is below. Y'all let me to read them? Okay, the project scope is for planning and construction through warranty phase for multiple projects statewide via DFA BOB's job order contracting program, which is Mississippi landmark and non-landmark. Job order contracting is an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity term construction contract based upon a nationally published and recognized cost index for the repair, renovation, demolition, improvement, and construction of buildings, facilities, and infrastructure for statewide agencies, institutions, universities, and community colleges. Individual job orders will not be more than $7 million in construction costs. Execution of these professional contracts guarantees no minimum expenditure by DFA or BOB. Once adopted, individual job orders do not require obtaining quotes or advertisement and competitive bidding for award and are simply based upon the contracted unit price times the appropriate bid coefficients and multipliers for the defined scope of work. Professionals were selected for initial contracts via publicly noticed qualification-based selection process, and BOB has reviewed the documentation and recommends PPRB approval.
You've heard the recommendations coming regarding this request. It's to include the project scope. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval. Accept recommendation. I have a question.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor along with a second. Floor is open for question.
Question, are the universities and community colleges, are they aware that y'all have this? I'll communicate that some along the way.
A lot of people are utilizing this program.
I just remember doing these little projects in Delta State, and this was very nice to have had. So, very good.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Next item.
Okay, the next item is for construction award, which exceeds 5 million to Jackson State University, 103319 at Residence Hall renovations. The general contractor, there is a revision, it is Fountain Construction, not Ergon Construction Group, for 450 calendar days at a total value of award of $22,097,000, which is the base bid and 2 alternates. The scope is tenant improvements to an existing Jackson State University residence hall. The residence hall is McAllister Whiteside. Work shall be general construction, interior and exterior, mechanical, plumbing, and electrical in this 90,000 square foot building. Staff recommendation is BOV recommends PPRB approval contingent upon IAPL approval.
You've heard the summary of the request and staff's recommendation. What's your pleasure?
Move approval, that's a staff recommendation. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried.
The next item is for the third IFB of the job order contracting program for our actual contractors in correspondence to the item 1, which is the professionals. It is a renewal. The Northern District is Ergon Construction Group, Paul Jackson, Brown and Root, Richard Womack Construction. Central District is Brown and Root Industrial Services, Paul Jackson and Son, Ergon Construction Group, Century Construction, and Black Star. And the Southern District is Paul Jackson, Ergon, Brown and Root, and Dre's Construction. The term, this is the first renewal of up to 4 additional 1-year renewals, which is the option of the owner to renew. The total value is the Central region is to not exceed 50 million annually. The Northern and Southern regions are to exceed 35 million annually, and the scope is indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity term contracts based upon a nationally published and recognized cost index for the construction, repair, renovation, demolition, and improvement of buildings, facilities, and infrastructure for state agencies and institutions, universities, and community colleges statewide in accordance with 31.713 of the Mississippi Code 1972. Individual construction job orders will not be more than $7 million in construction costs and generally not less than $50,000. The cost for all work is based upon the established cost index multiplied by the bidder's pricing coefficient. BOB recommends PPRB approval.
Thank you. You've heard the summary of the general contractor, each of the areas, as well as the project scope. What is your pleasure?
But I'm the further question.
Second with the question.
We have a motion and a second. First question, sir.
I'm not sure I understand how this works. These guys have submitted the information that they are qualified to bid on projects and are pre-approved to be able to bid on projects. Is that what this is?
The first solicitation was the actual bid based on pricing and coefficients.
Yeah, they did a multiplier
A year ago.
times the price index, so they were the lowest.
Yeah, I understand, but they just gotta say, we're qualified because, hey, we got this, we got the financial, we got a bond, and we got there's certain criteria that have to be met
Yes.
before you can get a put on this list.
That's
the
correct.
question. And these guys submitted that and they're on the approved list, so they don't have to go jump through hoops when they have it.
That's correct. And this tool is utilized as in the agencies or institutions get to select from this list who they would like to use for the actual construction award. So in the central region, northern region, and southern region, they pick from those groups.
Is there any requirement for them to update on a yearly basis or 3-year basis to make sure that they're still qualified?
So we have to do term contracts, they're limited to 5 years. We have to give them solicitation. And obviously our regular processes for suspension debarment would come into play. But you also just don't have to use them.
And there is a
We've had some.
Right, when a dollar limit on what
Yes,
you do.
yes, each contractor can do no more than a certain amount.
And the quarterly updates from the meetings, if you want to get that.
Correct. The national pricing is like the CPI for construction that keeps the prices. And the contractors don't control that. They can only control their multiplier, which they did.
Well, I was just more concerned about the individual companies. Obviously, there's some big ones here, but something might happen, to them in the third year, and they don't have the same resources or abilities going into the fourth, fifth year. So, but you're saying every 5 years they got to resubmit.
And they come before you each year, so each year, if we had an example of one that was getting sketchy, we would not bring them forward for renewal.
Okay.
We don't have to bring all 5 back for renewal.
I think even like, if I remember correctly, at university, we had a problem with contractor not performing or underperforming and could not get corrected. We notified y'all and y'all assisted us in helping getting them either corrected or removed, or so that nobody else would have that problem.
Love your term about the performance, getting sketchy fire. Next question.
The question I had, and to clarify, this would apply to other one as well. The universities, I'm thinking particularly university schools, they present their money or use bonding money. This is not DFA's money. This is maybe some combination. If it's
Combination.
bonded, there's alleged law, yeah, you're pot money, but otherwise, we would bring forth the money to make the project work.
Right, it's sort of like furniture contracts that you're able to use this vehicle with your own money. In addition to those that were.
Unless,
So this is a $0 decision that we're making right now.
Correct. With the cap.
And cap.
Ready for the question?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Next item.
Good morning, Ken Adams with Real Property Management. First category of leases will be succeeding leases. And the first one is with the Mississippi Personnel Board here in Jackson, 21,950 square feet. First year term is for $384,125. That's equivalent to $17.50 per square foot, and that is an inclusive figure. The rates from years 1 to 10 are approximately a 1.4% increase per year. The purpose of the lease, this is the home of Mississippi State Personnel Board. The Personnel Board asked PPRB for a waiver on the space efficiency allowance under 300.13 section 6 of the state leasing manual due to the required classroom and other training requirements that MSPB provides state employees. MSPB also is required to maintain records according to schedules approved by the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. Mississippi State Personnel Board has to comply with more than 150 different record retention schedules. SPB also asked for a deviation pursuant to 300.9 section 2 of the Real Property Management Leasing Manual to enter into a 10-year extension rather than allow a 5-year extension. A 10-year lease is financially beneficial to the state rather than a 5-year lease. This agency has been at this location since June of 2011. RPM recommends the approval of this lease.
You've heard the summary of the request and staff's recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
So,
We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Question.
Excuse me.
I don't mind. Why the yearly cost increase $100,000? Am I reading?
I'm sorry.
Am I reading that wrong?
I'm sorry, could you repeat it, please?
The previous yearly cost was $286,000,
That's correct.
and we're going to $384,000.
That's right. We had that lease from 2016 until 2026. So it's 10 years. Our lease rates didn't go up. So they're just trying to catch up with it. Also a note, the folks that owned this building at the time, they went bankrupt. Okay, so I can understand why they're trying to catch up a little bit so they can maintain the facility a little bit better than they had. Because they didn't even recognize the 20-something% inflation rate for the last since 2020. So it's very reasonable from us as to what the new lease rate is. $17.50 in an inclusive environment. You're still looking at somewhere around $15 per square foot plus utilities, because the utilities cost anywhere from 2.5% to 3% more facility.
Seems like that's pretty expensive. The way I look at it, playing with these numbers, is there 47 people? There's enough room for 47 people. Is that correct?
there's enough room for 47.
Well, it says total space per occupant, 467, and there's 21,000, almost 22,000 square feet. So that's 47 people in the agency.
You'd have to divide the two if that's what it works out to be, yeah. But again, you have to have classroom environments, and the classroom is quite large.
2 classrooms.
They have to be pretty big.
Classrooms.
I mean, we had that focus hearing over there,
That's right.
which was half a floor.
And we're discussing, it's not in stone yet, to use the building where they're located as swing space. You know, so we can work on multiple floors at one time, but we would move them down there too, and then they could use SPB's facilities like conference room, classrooms, whatever they need. That's not in stone, but that's kind of what we're working.
Right.
What building is this? The
That's NGB.
LDGP building? Okay.
And also another note is in the last 6 years, they have reduced their footprint up there by almost 4,000 square feet. So they're cognizant of the requirements we have.
Ready for the question? All in favor of this proposal? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Next item.
Let's see. The next lease, exceeding lease is Mississippi Department of Rehab Services in Long Beach, Mississippi for 730 square feet, $12,000 a year, $16.44 per square foot. And of course, this is one of our apartment situations for training blind clients. And this amendment extends the lease for 1 year with no renewals. This agency has been at this location since November of 2023. RPM recommends the approval of this lease.
You've heard the summary and the recommendation. What is your vote?
Move approval of this. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried.
The next one is Mississippi State Department of Health in Pearl, Mississippi, is an addition of space for 1,374 square feet to bring the total to 20,142 square feet at a yearly cost of $241,704 or $12 even plus utilities and janitorial. And the cost per square foot remains the same as the original lease. Purpose of the lease is to maintain and protect existing medical supplies and shelter inventory, to establish adequate storage capacity for 4 Department of Health divisions, to provide secure space for emergency response equipment and gear, to offer climate-controlled areas suitable for internal training and class and events. Note this amendment adds space to the existing lease. All other terms and conditions remain the same. And I will say that they did have a response to the situation in the Delta and North Mississippi from this facility. RPM recommends the approval of this lease.
You've heard the summary and the staff recommendation. What's your pleasure?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation. Second.
You have a motion and a second on the floor. All in
I've got a
question?
What was that comment about something from the Delta?
Oh, they had a response. They responded to it, and some of their, with some of their medical supplies, and it was, I just wanted, I asked them, I said, did y'all respond to the situation up in North Mississippi with this icing? And they said, yes, we did. And I was just trying to kind of expand on what they actually did.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Question. This is where USGS right next.
Right next door, right next door.
Where they at, to the back?
It's in the back, yes, sir. It was quite a large, probably not as big as this room right here. Maybe not quite as big, but they had a lot of medical supplies. A lot of those went out to Pearl, but they found that for access and storage that was specific to their scope of work, they needed to keep it there at the facility. Because when we originally renewed this lease, we eliminated that
That's
space.
because, did we just do this about 4 months?
That's correct. That's correct. And they thought they could do without it. They found they could.
Okay, and how does this one work? Y'all took some USGS of the bill?
Right, we eliminated the space a few months ago, but found that they had to get it
Okay,
back. So
all right, okay, thank you.
Ready for the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Next item.
the next one is Mississippi Department of Corrections in Brookhaven for 4,200 square feet at $30,000 per year or $7.14 plus utilities and janitorial. This is the probation and parole office for the Brookhaven, Lincoln County area. This amendment extends the lease for 1 year. This agency has been at this location since February of 2001. RPM recommends the approval of this amendment lease.
You've heard the summary and the recommendation. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve based on staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried.
The next amendment is with Mississippi Department of Rehab Services in Long Beach, Mississippi. It is for 6,359 square feet, $70,000 a year, $11.01 plus utilities and janitorial. This is a unique blindness skill training model that is different substantially from the traditional approaches intended to help blind and low vision people to become self-sufficient. The training center uses structural discovery teaching techniques, strategies across the area of training, including cane travel, braille reading and writing, home management, and technology. This amendment extends the lease for 3 years with no renewals. This agency has been here since February of 23. And this is the kind of the home office for all the apartment dwellings that we also lease. So they'll go to this particular facility to get the initial training, and then they'll go to an actual live apartment in order to get used to that. RPM recommends the approval of this lease.
You've heard the summary and the recommendation. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve this.
Second with a question.
Floor is open for questions.
Is the coast the only place they have these apartments to train the blind? I think everyone they've ever approved has been in Biloxi or Long Beach.
Right.
Is that the only place in the state that goes on?
Yes, sir. It's the only place that they've initiated this particular type of training for blind and low sight individuals.
Some of it takes place at local.
Excuse me?
I think they've got programs at Addie McBride.
Oh, Addie McBride. Yeah.
State
Yeah.
But
have some of these programs at the Addie McBride Center at. You know,
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
sure. The rehab services also operates the Addie McBride Center at the UNC campus. So I think some of those programs are provided at that location. And since it's state-owned, you wouldn't see a lease for that. So I think, I don't know where else in the state they have, but
Well, you're gonna have the Department of Health will have group homes where a number of those folks work for rehab services centers, but they're housed in mental health. So there's another thought to those group homes just gotta run state.
Okay. All right. This just seems to be that the coast seems to be the only place where specifically there's this training program for the blind. I just didn't know if it was statewide or you had an issue, you needed to go there to access this.
This is Lee Shirley from the Department of Rehab Services. Like I said, it's not the only center. We have a centralized center at Addie McBride, which is on the campus at UMMC. It also has, that campus has live-in areas, so we don't need apartments for that. So they teach a similar, it's not the exact same style, but it's a similar training program to that. It's located centrally here.
Thank you for your clarification.
Thank you.
Ready for the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Next item.
The next one is with Mississippi Department of Rehab Services in Pearl, Mississippi for 11,750 square feet, yearly cost of $160,200. That's $13.63 plus utilities and janitorial. There are 3 MDR offices within this location: the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation for the Blind, and the Office of Special Disabilities Programs. This amendment extends the lease for 3 years with no renewals. The agency has been here since March of 2008. RPM recommends the approval of this lease.
You've heard the summary and the recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Any questions, comments, concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried.
The next category is non-competitive leases. This is the first one is with the Mississippi Department of Public Safety in Columbia, Mississippi, for 7,000 square feet at $18,000 per year, $2.57 plus utilities and janitorial. And this will be a driver service bureau station. This is a 10-year lease with no renewals. RPM recommends the approval of this lease.
You've heard the summary and the recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Just one comment. I thought we read earlier that a 10-year lease needed to be an exception. That the leases were only 5 years. Is this not an exception or just a different category?
Well, it's an amended lease versus the succeeding lease. And I guess for the record, we could ask for that waiver now, just to make sure that we're asking in a proper way.
I just didn't know if there are different categories that could be put into 10 versus 5, or is it just, is 5 a standard?
The 5 is a standard for succeeding leases, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. But, you know, I would rather be on the side of caution and just ask you for a waiver for up to 10 if I could.
$2.57. Let's get a 20. So, anyway, I just have just a comment on how this works. Just to try to understand the system a little better. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there any objection to the waiver that has been requested? Hearing none.
Excuse me.
Hearing none, let it be allowed there.
Right. I will change the minutes once we get back in the office. Thank you.
Question on the floor. All in favor of the motion with the noted waiver language, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried.
The next one is a parchment farmland assignment. Consider a request from Mississippi Department of Corrections to assign sublease approximately 207.71 acres of tract 4 located in the Mississippi State Penitentiary farmland in Sunflower County, Mississippi, from William E. Livingston to Joshua Chandler for the 2026 crop year per paragraph 18 of the original lease regarding assignments. All terms and conditions, including yearly rental amounts per acre, will remain the same as in the original lease between the leasee and the state of Mississippi. The leasee and assignee will both be responsible for the tracts until the expiration of the lease term, which is January 14th, 2027. Should PPRB decide not to approve the assignment sublease, the leasee will retain the tracts completely. The total yearly amount of the assigned leases is $16,035.21. RPM recommends the approval of the assignment on the contingents of receiving an executed assignment contract. Just to note, the farmer in question is in good standing with DOC and RPM. RPM recommends the approval of this assignment.
You've heard the summary and the recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Move for approval based on staff recommendation. Quick question.
Second.
What's the question?
The question would be on the farmers good standing. Is that both of them? I guess that would be.
Yes, they are. They've been, as long as they pay their bills on time, I'm happy.
Regarding the motion on the floor, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried.
Thank you.
And thank you, sir, for providing the historical information about when was the last time we approved.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good morning, Kimberly Burst with OPSCR. The Mississippi Department of Human Services is requesting to modify their contract with L4 Security Group for security services. Amendment 2 was submitted to exercise the second renewal and increase the spending authority in the amount of $159,720 due to the average wage growth between 2023 through 2025. Amendment 2 also updates the period of performance, consideration and method of payment, as well as additional listed clauses. All other terms and conditions remain the same. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff's recommendation. Comments, concerns, questions? Hearing none.
Motions.
A motion.
I'm going to approve this based on staff recommendation.
So,
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried.
The Mississippi Department of Human Services is requesting to modify their contract with the University of Mississippi Medical Center in the amount of $250,000. The contractor provides telehealth and on-site pediatric and psychiatric services at the Oakley Youth Development Center. Amendment 1 was submitted to exercise the first renewal and increase the spending authority, as well as update the period of performance, consideration, and other listed clauses. All other terms and conditions remain the same. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff's recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Move approve this item.
We have a motion to approve
Second.
and a second. Question, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor of the item, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Hey, good morning. Jonathan Hill with OPSCR. Item number 3 is a new contract between Mississippi State Department of Health and Europeans Analytical LLC. The contractor will provide analytical services to specified community public water systems in our great state. The term of the contract is 5 years with no option to renew. The contractor was selected through an IFB with 2 bidders, and contract was awarded to the lowest bidder. The agency requests an exception to PPRB OPSCR rules and regulations, section 5.1, content of the solicitation, and section 5.2.1, manner of providing public notice to the direct 3 bidders. OPSCR has reviewed the request and has no concern that granting the exception would affect the competition, fairness, or transparency of their procurement. And OPSCR recommends approval of this request contingent upon the exception request being granted and receipt of the required certificate of insurance.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff's recommendation. What's your pleasure?
Approve based on staff recommendation.
Second question.
We have a motion and a second and a question.
So what was the issue with the public notice? Is that, I guess, because they published it, are in the portal, right? So that's still public notice.
It is public notice. The issue is what we're trying to do is with our new rules, is we are trying to bring more competition. So when I directly say, Dr. Moorhead, this is Jonathan Diller, please, this is invitation to our solicitation, I think it could be a little construed, and we are working, me and Tess are working with that agency to understand that.
Call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Next item.
Item number 4 is a new contract between Mississippi State Department of Health and University of Mississippi Medical Center Poison Control. The contractor will collaborate with agency to enhance early detection, surveillance, and investigative capacity for chemical, biological, and radiological and nuclear events. Contractor will provide a continuous 24-hour surveillance of poisoning-related diseases and exposures, and also submit reports to the agency on a quarterly basis. The term of the contract is approximately 1 year, 5 months, with an option to renew up to 4 years. Pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 27104-72I, agencies under the purview of PPRB may contract with government entities not under the purview of PPRB without bidding or other solicitation. The agency has determined the price represents a fair market value for this service. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard the summary of the request along with staff's recommendation. What's your pleasure?
I'm going to approve this item.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any question, comments, concern? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carried.
Item number 5 is a new contract between Mississippi State Department of Health and Health Management Associates Incorporated. The contractor will provide professional services in the development and implementation of a multi-year comprehensive published state health plan. The plan will serve as a fundamental public health and healthcare resource for the agency and its external partners, rooted in a new framework designed to promote statewide alignment with the department's mission. The term of the contract is approximately 1 year and 8 months, with 1 year optional renewals, and will not exceed 5 years. The contractor was selected through a request for proposals with 4 respondents. 1 respondent was deemed non-responsible, and contract was awarded to the highest scoring respondent. And as a side note, it was also the lowest scoring respondent. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff's recommendation. What's your pleasure?
I move for approval based on staff recommendation.
So,
We have a motion and a second on the floor. I have a question. Who was the last supplier to provide the state health plan?
Dr.
We-
Young.
This is Dorothy Young with the Health Department. There has not been a prior supplier of this particular service because this is related to the Rural Health Transformation Grant, not just the typical state health plan that the agency previously produced. You're probably remembering the one related to Certificate of Need. This is a fundamental portion of the Rural Health Transformation Grant requirements as well. So this is a new service for the agency.
Thank you. Question on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carried. Next item.
Good morning. I'm Chelsea Stewart with OPSCR, and number 6 is a contract from the Mississippi Department of Finance Administration with Warner Incorporated doing business as Service Master One Call. The term of the original exigent circumstance contract was 6 months with no renewals. The contractor provides on-site management and custodial services at the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum and the Mississippi History Museum. Amendment 2 has been submitted to modify the consideration clause and extend the contract term an additional 6 months. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff's recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Motion to approve based on staff recommendations with question.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. Floor is open for question.
Why just 6-month contracts? I don't think I've seen one where it's a continuous 6-month contract.
So originally for this contract, we were hoping that we would have a contract procured or some legislation that would allow these museums to have staff to provide these services. And we did not have that happen. So now we need another 6 months to get us on track to run a solicitation.
So yeah, you're trying to get some people hired there to do it on a regular basis, and pending what can happen, you're extending this contract.
We are.
Not tying yourself to too long.
Right.
Very much.
Over there, you kind of have to specialize.
Thank you for that. No other questions, right? for me.
Any other question, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you. Next item?
Good morning, Shannon Smith with the Office of Statewide Strategic Sourcing. We have a new contract with the Mississippi Development Authority. This contract or Miles Partnership will provide tourism marketing and consulting services. The contractor was selected through an RFQ to which 12 vendors responded. 5 were found non-responsive. We are recommending award to the highest scoring vendor. MDA's board they met on January 27th to review this contract. The term is 3 years and 24 months of optional renewals. The value is $4.5 million. OSSS recommends approval of this request contingent upon receipt of regulatory board approval.
You've heard the summary of the request and the staff recommendation. What is your pleasure?
I move for approval based on staff recommendation.
Second with a comment.
Motion and a second. Questions, board, open for questions.
Yeah, I pulled this contract up and started reading it until I realized it was 813 pages long. My God in heaven, people, I mean, you got 12 respondents that submitted a 813 page contract. Well, how in the world do you evaluate those things? I mean, that's just, hell, that's $1 million just to review it. I'm serious. Why are these contracts so
There's a lot of
onerous?
terms. I don't know about this contract, but I know when we were evaluating the statewide county system, our matrix to answer questions was over 300 pages, just to evaluate them, for us to evaluate staff. And we had, I don't know, 4 or 5 members.
Yes.
That replied, so we had to answer all 300 pages for every.
So you're telling me that the Development Authority reviewed 12 proposals at 800 pages apiece and made this decision? Am I reading that?
We may have Amber on the line to answer that. I'm not sure if they were.
This is Brian Daniel from Mississippi Development Authority. So I think what you're looking at is the procurement file, which is inclusive of all the proposals and all of that. So the contract is not 800 pages. Actually, per the RFQ instructions, I do believe we limited all respondents to 50 pages in their response to us. So you're looking at the full procurement file, which is all of the documents that went along with doing this whole procurement.
So those that need to be reviewed for each submittal?
The 50 pages from each respondent was reviewed and scored. Yes, sir.
So whoever is submitting it needs to look at those other 787 pages.
No, I think each 50 pages included in that document.
The other 700 pages would include all of the scoring sheets, the review committee comments. So that would be inclusive of all of the process. The contract in each respondent is probably somewhere a lot less than 60 or 70 pages per respondent. Because I do believe 4 of them were deemed non-responsive. 5 of them were deemed non-responsive. So those, while they're in there, they were not reviewed or scored.
All right, thank you for that. I just seemed like a pretty onerous procedure, but
we would agree with you, sir.
All right, and that is actually one of the benefits of artificial intelligence. Now you can actually program it to review them for you. And have a human in the loop to verify that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any additional question, comments, or concerns?
Yeah, one quick question on this, man. What is your role in this process? Because OSS is new. How do you involve this as opposed to, say, like Danny does, where he's looking at the contracts? Weren't y'all more involved in the contract process?
We are
more involved in, well, we're involved throughout the entire process. Instead of like, say, for example, OPSDR, they review everything at the end. And we're reviewing everything every step of the way.
All the way
So
through this.
it's essentially the same thing. We're just doing it from start to finish instead of doing everything at the end.
So your responsibility on this is if something goes haywire early.
Yes.
You fix it
Correct.
before you get to the end.
Yes. And then we can guide them, you know, every step of the way.
I knew this was like a less than a year. We've had this OSSS, and I was trying to understand this process. Just trying to understand how y'all fit in that process.
We trying to help the agency from start to finish,
Right.
rather than them do it all and then look at it from the backside where it might be issues when it's already done.
As an auditor, this is, I always say you go in after the battle's over and bayonet wounded.
Yes.
That's what we do. Y'all are trying to bayonet them as the battle's going on.
Yes. And we're also the point of contact with the vendors. So
Okay, thank you. I was just trying to understand how you fit into this.
It keeps the agency from having to start over if they
Right.
foul up.
And I agree.
You know, they have to start over, but under this, they're watching all along so we can fix it before it's a.
And this is on a limited number of agencies, if I
Yes, it
remember
was
right.
a pilot that we did a couple of years ago. Was it 2 or 3 years ago with Senator Pope? We worked with him to get a pilot going.
But this has not been going that long.
No, so he gave us a year to implement.
Okay.
So.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
you want.
Try to prevent conundrums.
We have a motion on the floor. All in favor of this motion? I think we've done that. Say aye. All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried. Yeah.
So recently, the Office of Statewide Strategic Sourcing issued an IFB to create a list of pre-approved vendors who can provide lawn and landscaping services to agencies if needed. Agencies under PPRB purview can directly contract with these vendors on this list without going through their own bidding process. The IFB divided the state into 8 regions. It also divided the service into core service categories and then extra ones that aren't required. The IFB stated we would recommend awards for all responsive and responsible bidders whose average core service hourly rate was less than 125% of the market average for that region. Out of the 14 bidders who responded, 9 were deemed responsive and responsible. Out of those 9, 1 bidder's prices were higher than that 125% threshold. This list will be effective until January 31st, 2029. Prices offered will remain fixed and valid until January 31st, 2031. There is an allowance for price increase in case of unexpected market disruptions. The price adjustment must be supported by market analysis provided to the agency, and the adjustment cannot exceed 110% of the original bid rate. OSSS recommends that all vendors listed here be placed on the PVL for lawn and landscape.
You've heard the summary of the request and staff's recommendation. What's your question?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second on the floor. Any comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Any other business come before the board? I have a question, please, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I was sent some information regarding a bill to exempt the DMH from Public Procurement Board. Do you have any knowledge of this?
I don't.
I got a request too, but anyway, from the Mississippi Today, I was trying to see if it was, but anyway, first of all, the question was to exempt them from, only from one class of services, personal services, personal professional services. And the little guy that was asking questions, I said, first of all, I said, that is a narrow, you're making this broad thing, but you're talking about one narrow line. He was looking at the law, which had like 17 or 18 classes of exemptions, and I said, you need to go through and look at the definition of that. Where he says, well, then this is probably not an article worth printing. I said, you know, there are lots of exceptions, but there are a lot of tight controls. And our ultimate goal in procurement is to protect the state and the vendors and the agencies. And so, anyway, I was looking just then, I was gonna tell you, I'm gonna go, but there's no article, so. It's,
We are following the legislation, so once we have an idea of anything that's gonna affect the board.
Appreciate
we'll
that.
let them.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Is there, any other business to come before the board? We have a regular meeting, in March at 9 a.m. in this room. And if we have no other business, do we have a motion regarding adjournment?
What motion do we adjourn?
We have a motion, a second that we adjourn, and we hereby stand adjourned until March 4th.
Thank you.
Thank you.